Senator, what's the latest in terms of the negotiations with the shutdown?
Well, I know about as much as everybody, and that is that there's, in my view, a good team in place. I think that the conference committee is made up of very good, reasonable people on all sides, senators, House members, Republicans, Democrats. I believe that if Nancy Pelosi and the president give them some room to work, they'll come up with something that a majority of their conferences and that their bodies can pass, that I believe the president would sign. We're at a point now where we celebrate small incremental movement in the right direction, and I do sense a thawing on everybody's part. For me, I think it's very optimistic. The reality is we all pretty much want the same thing.
Right.
And kind of, right? We all have the same goal in mind generally. And whether we're talking about technology or people or, more judges or detention facilities or a barrier, I think all of the above are necessary. I think that's what the professionals are saying. So I think, again, if we give them the room to work, I think they get something we'll agree to.
Senator, I'm struck by this because it often seems like we're playing a political semantics game. Wall, barrier, steel slats, smart fencing. What is it?
Well, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
And I agree. I feel like you do. We're playing a political semantics game. Unnecessary. We're not children, we're adults. And the people out there are growing impatient with this political game. Call it whatever you want. But I think leaning on the expertise of the people on the ground is the way to go. I think the more we lean on that and on their evidence, the better the outcome will be. And I think everybody will be pleased with it.
And tomorrow night, the president delivering his State of the Union address, he's going to likely talk about this.
Sure.
What do you think what tone does he need to strike tomorrow on this particular issue?
So I think he needs to strike an aspiring tone. I think it's serious. He needs to make the pitch for why it's so serious, why it might even be an emergency. Should that become the only way to get done what he wants to get done? I expect him to make that pitch in both a scientific but also hopefully an inspirational way that's unifying. And it's up to him. He's got this grand opportunity to make the pitch directly to the American public, who then can make the pitch directly to the people that work for them.
He's also likely going to talk about trade policy, something that's really important to your state, particularly USMCA or NAFTA 2.0.
Right.
What are you hearing about the timeline for this actually getting ratified?
Well, I agree with Chairman Grassley. Sooner is better than later. I think we have to get everybody to look at it in its totality, compare it not to what they wish, but rather to what was. And I think in that measuring, that as a measuring stick, there shouldn't be anybody that doesn't vote for it. I know that Democrats might want more things, but it is more friendly to labor than NAFTA was. I think that for Republicans, they might want some differences in how corporate America is treated, particularly in Canada, but on whole, it's better than not having a deal, and it's better than NAFTA. So I hope we can get to it quickly and make a convincing argument that don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Are you concerned at all about its chances in the House, though, given the political dynamics of Democrats?
Well, I'm always concerned about that, but it's time for the House to get serious about governing rather than just investigating. And I think that once we get past this night, if you will, I hope our speaker becomes more of a leader and less of a sort of a follower of a radical part of her conference.
Let me stick with trade because it's also big trade talks between the U.S. and China. Again, you have a big agricultural sector in your state. What are you hearing from your farmer constituents in terms of the U.S.-China trade talks? What do they ultimately want?
Sure. Well, what they want really is what the president wants. They certainly want to sell more products to China, but they also don't want to have their technology or their biotech or anything stolen. They know that in the long run, selling some beans in the short run, while that's good for next year's bottom line, in the long run they could lose that market altogether. So they've been with him on this largely, a little bit of anxiety. It's a new growing season. Certainly they're going to be watching closely in the next few weeks where things go. Encouraged by, again, incremental movement in the right direction. But as they make a planting decision, they'll probably want to have a little more certainty than they have today.
Senator Kevin Cramer, a Republican from North Dakota, new member of the Senate, and also a member of the Senate Banking Committee. So we know you'll come back and talk to us about all of the different developments that are happening on the Senate Banking Committee.